Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Parents Lounge. I am your host number one, Jason Gowan, and with me is the always wonderful, always amazing Mr. Jamie Kaler.
Thanks, Jason. You know, every time we finish that little opening that you did, it's got this jarring, there's no fade. It just goes, ga-dunk.
Oh, yeah, I got to fix that.
No, part of me goes, I always go naturally. That should have a nice slow fade to it, but it's the Parents Lounge. And so there should be nothing seamless and easy to it. It should be painful and jarring and kind of that, because that's what kids are like. So
it also sounds exactly like the show.
It sounds exactly like the show. Dude, you and I have had crazy weeks. We're not going to talk about it too much because we have some amazing guests coming in tonight.
I know, right? This is like a badass fight, guys. This is a dream.
I know. And there's a lot. All of a sudden, our main guest has a fan base that went rabid today and started inviting people left and right and shared the post and stuff. But before we do that, let's bring in our good friend who basically wanted to be on with this guest. So he was like, hey, you guys need me tonight? And we're like, yeah, sure, come join us. So
Mr. Dave Schrader.
Hey, that's me.
That's Dave Schrader from the Holzer Files and Haunted Live, that fantastic show that you and I did. And we also, you're integral part of this show because you have, I normally say like 47 kids or something, but you literally have 11?
Between my wife and I, yes. We have 11 kids and 6 grandchildren.
Okay, so you're like the elder. If there was a Mount Rushmore in the Parents Lounge, you're one of those cats.
Somewhere between Fred Flintstone and Homer Simpson. I think you'd see me pleasantly positioned between them.
Although each of them only had 2 kids. I would say you're more like an Amish dude from the 1800s who really needed some help plowing the fields. That's what I feel.
He's like Gizmo in the Gremlins. You just get Dave a little bit wet and you have a whole mess of children.
Don't feed me after midnight. Yeah, it's bad news.
He has 11 kids. At some point, you're like, Dave, I don't know if you know this. They've cured polio. There's no reason to stock up anymore, man. All you're doing is screwing up traffic at this point.
1967 parts are hard to come by, Jamie. And I can't just get them printed by Jason in order to replace things. So I'm just building my own stockpile for the future.
In my defense, we haven't really tried.
True. Very, very true.
Listen, when I heard you guys were having this fisticuffs all-boy brawl action tonight, I knew I had to be a part of it because what kid didn't fight every villain or superhero at one time or another with their towel wrapped around their neck or maybe even a bandana around their head? This is my life, and I'm so glad that we've all lived. The 3 of us are the nerds in grade school who now get to see the fruition of Marvel Universe. This is our time, boys.
I know.
Godzilla, Marvel Universe, Star Wars.
Too, because Marvel just came out with their first Asian superhero this week. Right? The big movie's coming out. And I think our main guest would have played that part had that movie come out a few years ago. So I think without further ado, we should just jump into this because we have a ton of people and a ton of questions to chat with this gentleman.
I can't wait any longer. You go ahead, Jamie. Bring him in.
Let's do it. He's a buddy of mine. His wife was the makeup artist on My Boys. And so when she was like, we talked. We did 4 seasons together. And at some point she goes, my husband is. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And then we were like, when's he coming to set? And so we made him come to set. So our main guest this evening has 11, count them, 11 world titles with kickboxing. He has many movies under his belt. He is a number 1 on the call sheet, above the title movie star from the whole Bloodfist series, many martial arts movies. And talking about the Marvel Universe, he did a little DC because he's in a famous Batman movie that we have the clip for.
We do
this evening, and it is time for a Donnybrook this evening. Please welcome Don the Dragon Wilson.
Woo! Yeah!
Hey guys,
welcome.
Oh, it's great to be here. Great to be here.
Here's the other thing about Don that nobody really knows about. Like, they know the martial arts and the movie star and all the other stuff. But what you don't know, and because it links to the Parents Lounge, is he has 2 of the most amazing children on earth. He's going to tell us how to raise.
I got to interrupt you.
3. 2 that I knew about and I met, and then there's
from Kathleen, and then 1 for my everybody's got to have a first wife in Hollywood. That was my first one.
Talk to Schrader about that. I'm the only one. I started so late, I don't have time for a second wife. So,
Good.
but you raised a valedictorian, which is, I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on, that's pretty cool. So, first of all, who did you knock out today?
Nobody, because I never throw a punch unless I get paid. And if I don't get into this, Mike Tyson's got the legends only thing he's doing. They've already contacted me. We're knocking around names. I can give a couple of them, maybe one out tonight that they said, and I'm for it, and he may jump on it too. This may be the first time it's ever spoken of, is Mickey Rourke tonight. So we might be doing rocking and rolling. Now, he won't let me kick him because Mickey's not a kickboxer. He's a boxer. And, now he was never a legend as a boxer, but he's definitely a legend as an actor.
Yeah.
Totally great actor. But we might rock and roll. The Dragon and Mickey Rourke.
Dude, it is kind of, I mean, with Jake Paul fighting and all the other guys, all of a sudden it was like MMA for a while, but all of a sudden everyone's like, let's go back to the sweet science and let's see what you can really do with your fisticuffs. And all of a sudden it's starting to take off in like these barroom brawls that are being televised. Yeah.
I'm making no illusions. I'm not the greatest fighter. Jake Paul's not the greatest fighter. But it's just a freak show. It's like Barman Bailey, the two-headed woman in the trailer. Jake Paul, they grossed $65 million that last fight. Lasted one round. He threw a right hand. He hit the guy on top of the head, and the guy went down. The referee stopped it. Because, look, these are not real fights. We're all too out of shape and too old to get real fights from the athletic missions. So they call them exhibitions. And these referees we don't want anybody dying in the ring. They'll stop them immediately. And that's what they did. The guy got knocked down and the fight was over.
Yeah. I have a question though. Where does the millions of dollars come from? I mean, how do you justify? Is it a worldwide draw? It's on a pay-per-view and people are paying.
It's on pay-per-view and people are paying to see it. Yeah, and they're not paying to see the greatest fighters. It's just a fun thing. It's just a show. When Tyson and Roy Jones did their 8 rounds, they wore 12-ounce gloves. They went 2-minute rounds. And look, I know Roy. I've never met Mike Tyson, but I've seen him fight many years. Those guys were just sparring. There's a difference between trying to knock each other and hurt each other and just putting on a show for the audience. And that's what they did. And when you can spar a guy like Tyson did and walk home with $10 million, there's going to be more of them going on. Believe me.
It's the Harlem Globetrotters of boxing.
They're not great fights. It's just a show. It's really kind of amazing. I didn't have this phenomenon when I was a fighter. We had pay-per-view, but I'm the only kickboxer to get Viewer's Choice. They're the biggest pay-per-view company out there. I fought my coming out of retirement on Viewer's Choice. But pay-per-view was restricted to guys like Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran. I mean, the top boxers. Kickboxers, you don't hardly ever hear of pay-per-view for them. And now it's not a closed circuit deal. It's in every home. Think about it. Cable TV, everybody can just call up, put that on my bill. Click, and they have parties. They get all their friends over, and nobody takes it serious. Hey, I'm not complaining. I haven't made my money yet in it, but you guys are the first to hear. Look, I've been a friend of Mickey Rourke since 1985. We met because we had the same boxing trainer way back when I first moved here. But there's no animosity in me anyway, even if I was to fight a pro fighter. I have no animosity. I'm just doing a job. When the bell rings, I'm going to do what I'm paid to do.
And you do it very, very well.
Well, I tell people I may not be the best fighter, but I'm the luckiest fighter. I'm for sure the luckiest fighter of all time. And Holyfield will back me up. Holyfield and I were getting an award from Arnold Schwarzenegger, so we were both sitting together. And I told the story of my last fight. My last fight, the week before the fight, I break my rib. But I have never pulled out of a fight. I didn't want to start on my last fight. I've already announced I'm retiring from my last fight. This was 2002 at the Tropicana, Atlantic City. So what happens is I go there and I keep my right hand over that rib. Because if you can't hit it with a kick or a punch, I'm going to get through the fight. So it's the last round, 10th round, and I asked my trainers, I said, am I winning? Because I can't tell the judge. And they look and they said, look. See that audience? It was sold out in Tropicana. They're all his people. That he's a hometown guy. If he gets a decision, there's not going to be any booing, they said. They said, so that my trainers told me I got to knock him out. So I get up off the seat. Now, it's the 10th round. I haven't thrown a right hand the whole fight. Where do you think his left was by then? We call it was in his pocket. Yes. I throw the right hand, hits him. He goes down and out. I throw my hands up, and they go, ladies and gentlemen, winner by knockout in the 10th and final round with 4 seconds on the clock. And her whole field burst out laughing. So because that never happened. And Jamie, if you handed me a script, you said, this is the movie I want you to do, I'd look at that and I'd say, wait a minute. He knocks the guy out with 4. That's not going to happen. Rocky wouldn't even do that in a Rocky movie. Remember?
It's like when they cut the bomb. It's like it ticks down to like 1 second, and they go snip, and they go, "Whoo! Just made it." Yeah. That's cool.
See, I was feeling intimidated being part of this until I heard that story, because just like you, I never know when to pull out, and I last about 4 seconds in a round as well.
Well, this is 4 seconds left in the round.
Wow.
That's what I meant. 4 seconds, you put it all in. That's what I'm all about.
Well, that's why you have 11 kids too, dude. So maybe you should last a little longer and spread time out between the children. I mean, that's maybe part of.
Yeah.
Why put in that much work when it's doing its job, Jamie? That's my thought.
Yeah, that's actually, you know what? It's like the lions. If you watch the lion show on Planet Earth where the 2 lions, and you're like, who's like king of the jungle? And then when he gets to it, it's literally like, badoosh, and then he goes back to sleep for 22 minutes. Yeah.
I respect my wife. She has much more important things to do than me. So I just give her the chance to get done.
Dude.
She's got knitting.
She has 11 children. That's insane.
Wow, that is something, though. Look, we can be impressed with anything somebody does. That's true. Like Einstein was a great guy, but I bet you he couldn't shoot a basketball, right? If he got on a basketball court, we'd be fighting because we wouldn't want him on our team. Well, if I'm in the ring and I can kick and punch, I'll be egotistical. I'm one of the best guys. But I'm not the world champion dad. I'm like everybody. We learn by all our mistakes. We make so many mistakes on the first child. We do it a little better on the second. By the last one, which was my daughter, I halfway knew what I was doing.
You perfected it. She's gorgeous. She was a valedictorian, full ride to where? I'm not sure we want to say.
Middlebury. But look, she did it all on her own. She did. I can take no credit.
Well, let me ask you: how about do you pass the credit off to the wife?
If there is a positive, someone she emulated is Kathleen. Because when it comes to makeup, she's the best.
She's the best. She runs a tight ship.
She took a kickboxer because she was my first makeup artist, right? Early in my career. She worked with Roger Corman. She took a kickboxer and made him an action star.
I mean, you're such a cliche, Don. You ended up you're not supposed to marry the makeup artist. You're just supposed to hook up with him, I believe.
Well, I only married the first one. All the other ones, that was, all my friends asked me about the female leads and everything, and I said, hey, that was all over for me.
Well, you know better than to date actresses. They're the craziest ones of all, man.
Oh.
Okay, all right.
There's a story there.
Actually, there are women fighters today. I've never dated one, but I can imagine. Can you imagine a woman fighter? I mean, a pro fighter like a Ronda Rousey or something like that. If you were dating somebody who could throw a left hook and knock you right out.
Yeah, she's like, "Hey, you didn't do the dishes," and then I'm like, she's like, "Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep." Terrible. Well, aren't you buddies with Cynthia Rothrock?
Listen, we there's a lot of coincidences about us, but we've been friends since the mid-'80s. She studied the same style of Kung Fu I studied. That's really unusual because it's a small style of Kung Fu. It's called the White Dragon style, Pai Long. And we had the same agent our entire careers, by coincidence. And one day, I used to live in Beverly Hills. Now, don't even think that means anything, because I lived in the ghettos of Beverly Hills. And we call it the ghettos, which was an apartment. I had an apartment there. But the apartments are pretty damn nice there. So, okay, I got an apartment in Beverly Hills. I'm walking down the street. All of a sudden, a car honks, and I turn around. It's Cynthia Rothrock. And I said, what are you doing here? She goes, I live on this street. Coincidentally, we lived on the same street in Beverly Hills when I moved here in '85. And We had the same agent, same style of martial arts. She's called the Lady Dragon. What is my nickname? Don the Dragon. I mean, it's just one coincidence after another. And totally never dated, nothing. She always had husbands. I had wives. She had boyfriends. I had girlfriends. But we end up being like brother and sister, great friends.
That's awesome. Hey, you know what's funny, dude? I saw you posted a picture of you. You did 1 year at the Coast Guard Academy, and I was like,
yes, I did. My first year.
I know, but here's what happened. So I'm former Navy. I was ROTC. I almost went to the Naval Academy, but I served in 4 years. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were in the Coast Guard. And you said your response was, oh, I wasn't really into the military aspect, which I thought was so interesting because
it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. And
of course. But it's a discipline, and yet you went into a totally different world of discipline. Like I get my kids into martial arts because I truly believe that it does create a positive outlook on life, and I truly believe that
very good.
Such great, yeah, right. So I found it interesting that it wasn't the discipline that you hated; it was that discipline. This discipline, which is maybe more of a positive discipline, and
when somebody tells you what to do, it's different than when you say, I want to learn how to do that kick. I'm going to start stretching. I'm going to do all the exercises. Self-discipline is a total different thing. It's a different mindset than discipline from the top down. And I understand military, it doesn't work any other way. All that discipline,
okay.
That's been going on successfully in the military. That's how it's got to be. But not in my everyday life. I was not happy with it. But I did stay the first year. You know, I did. And then basically I went to a junior college. I left the Coast Guard, went back to Florida. And the junior college had only a couple of sports. They had basketball, but they already picked the team. And so they had a wrestling team. And I had never wrestled. Now, I didn't even know the rules. So I go up to the wrestling coach. I said, I want to try out. And he asked me what my background was. I said, no, I don't even know. He said, son, nobody starts sports at the collegiate level. Like if you've never picked up a basketball, you don't just walk onto a team and say, I want to play college basketball and I want a full ride scholarship. So the guy said, look, there's my 190-pounder. Get on the mat with him. And I'm sure he told the guy, don't go easy on him. You know, convince the guy he's not up for this. But remember, I was the MVP of my high school football and high school basketball team. I was an athlete. I'd also been studying martial arts for a year. I studied it for a year in the Coast Guard. So I get on the mat. Now, here's my motivation. This is my college education. If I don't beat this guy or give him a fight on this mat, I'm not going to college. I have no money. I knew the guy later. He was 190 pounds. He was good. He was a good wrestler. But he's not like a hard worker. He was already thinking about eating pizza and having beers. And now he's got to wrestle some guy who's trying out for the team. So he had no motivation. So when we met, I gave him a hell of a workout. I'm not saying I got the better of him because I did not. I didn't even know the rules. But I got the scholarship. And my second year, I was sports in the state of Florida, intercollegiate, against all the schools. University of Miami, Gainesville, Florida State. Yeah, because junior colleges wrestle the 4-year schools. So within 2 years after never having done wrestling, I took fourth in the state. And the guy that beat me went to the nationals the year before.
That's fun.
Yeah, so wrestling is really my sport. Of all the sports I did, even kickboxing, I never picked anything up as fast as I picked wrestling.
Well, you were as an athlete, yeah. Were you a fighter as a kid? Did you get picked on? Did you fight back? And... Yeah.
But here's where the fighting came from. And this, I give talks. You know, I do anti-bullying talks because we didn't use that term back then. But when I was a kid, I grew up in Florida. This is the 50s. Only Asian kid in the school, and you know, it was all white because they black people and white kids. It was not desegregated. They had black schools and white schools, so they threw me in with the white schools, and I got picked on. I got into fights every single day. Matter of fact, the principal, I remember, they did corporal punishment back then. They just get a big old paddle and spank crap out of you if you get into a fight. Well, I was getting into fights weekly, every week, 1 or 2 fights. And it was because I was getting picked on. The white kids were picking on me because I was the only Asian kid that they'd probably ever seen. And anyway, I'm not saying I was winning, but I was fighting. And that was my introduction into aggressive things. And that was the motivation for playing basketball and football, is that I learned if you sink a 30-foot jump shot, everybody likes you.
Yeah.
That's the way I explain it. I said, what was negative? Prejudice is negative. We can all agree on that. But if you take it in a positive way, like I did, and said, what can I do to make these people accept me and like me? Be good in sports. When you sink a 30-foot jump shot, I scored 40 points in a game in basketball. I was an MVP of my basketball and MVP of the football team in high school.
Well, it's a turning point for a parents' show, especially because we're all dealing with bullying, and nowadays it's worse than ever with social media. And it's cool to hear that you grew up with that, and that now you do. What do you talked about when you
turn it for positive, though?
What do you talk about?
All parents.
How do you stop it?
You know what? I didn't stop it. It stopped on its own. We went, they desegregated the schools when my first year of high school. They desegregated. They were starting to open them back up, or open them up for the first time. Integration. So you had black kids and white kids. And when you're the best player, the black guys would say, "Wilson, you're not white. Be on our team today," because it always ended up being not shirts and skins in the '60s. It was black versus white. That's the way the basketball teams were picked. And you know what? They didn't even, I grew up in Florida, so it's the South. They didn't even feel like that was a prejudice thing. Like the black guys wanted to be all together. They didn't want the white guys in the team. And because they were actually better players. I say it now, but they superior players. And the white guys didn't mind that I was Asian because they wanted to win the game, right? And I was the MVP of the team, so I was one of the best guys. When they pick that MVP, it's not always, I was a guard. So, yeah, I scored points. I didn't get any rebounds.
Right.
We had guys so I can't say I'm the best player on the team because there is no thing, Even when I got the best kickboxer in the world, I was voted in 1984. And I was one of, but they just got to pick somebody, so I don't have that big ego as a fighter that, in 1984, there's nobody better than me. There could have been some junior welterweights, some guys with better technique and things. I'm not really sure, but I never felt that way. I just felt like they got to give it to somebody, and I got, for 1984, was the peak as a fighter.
Don, speaking of bullying, what's crazy, dude? Apparently, Steven Seagal has called into the show, man.
Do you want me to bring him in?
Speaking of bullies, Steven Seagal is here. I think he had some questions he wanted to talk to you. Do you have a history with Steven?
I'm rolling my sleeves up a little bit.
No!
I don't. It's not that kind of show.
No, but he likes to grab the wrist and things. And I just want to make sure I can get out of this thing if I have to. Is he
going to do some Aikido with a pool cue or something? What's happening?
Right.
Is that how he does it? He fights like that?
Say,
listen, you know him from Under Siege and Under Siege 2, and that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, Steven Seagal's joining us today. Steven, how are you, man? I'm shocked you even knew the show existed.
I actually don't. My manager told me to call in to talk to Don Wilson. Don, the Dragon Wilson, how are you?
Doing great.
Hey, man, it's great. It's great to see you. I'm a big fan of yours. I think you're great. I think you're a wonderful fighter.
Steven, I've never heard you say something good about somebody else.
Yeah. It's not like you, Steven. Did something happen? You're different now. What happened?
I'll say something nice to you because when the shit goes down, can I say that? Is it all right if I swear on this? Are kids listening?
Well, it's a little late now. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, when the stuff goes down, after I break that guy's neck and I don't know who he is, I'm coming after you, Don Wilson.
Whoa.
You know what? You're going to have to wait in line because there's a long line of people that would like to punch me, I'm sure.
Well, you've been talking a lot of smack since I've been on hold, and I just want to know what you're all about. You think you can beat Mickey Rourke? He's a good friend of mine.
You know what? We're going to have to, maybe we might have to get in the ring and rock and roll and find out what happens.
You and me or you and Mickey? I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, me and Mickey for sure. for sure would be a good show. Last time I saw Mickey was he was one of the first friends I got in LA in '85. But we had dinner together, and it was about a year and a half ago, and he had had a real fight in Russia. Well, kind of real. He brought his own opponent, and he knocked the guy out in the first round. And he told me what they paid him, and that it was good money. So I think he was fishing around to see if I was interested in Moscow, having a fight with him in Moscow. So yeah, I think something's going to happen. I'm going to get the ring. Jamie, you and I might have to get in there together.
Please.
One time,
Steven?
One time, Mickey Rourke and I, and we were at Pink's Hot Dogs, and I bought a chili cheese dog, and the last piece of the chili that comes off your hot dog with the cheese and a couple onions on there. He reached in and scooped it up with his finger, and I was looking at it, what the hell are you doing? And he took it and he ate it. And the next thing I knew, I was throwing fisticuffs, Aikido style, like nobody's business. I must have had hot dogs and pink things flying all over the place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds... I heard that.
Strange phenomenon. So you didn't get along with Mickey Rourke. In Hollywood, it seems like action stars are always, Chuck Norris, by the way, is the exception, because Chuck and I have been friends since the 70s. And so that's an example of, and Michael J. White and I are friends, although Michael J. White is bumped heads with you, Stephen. I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Everybody's bumped heads with Stephen. Maybe it's time for the intervention. Stephen, Stephen, why aren't you even on camera?
I'm trying to change my ways. I've been fighting while I'm in Russia now. And, me and Vladimir Putin, we're good friends. And he built this huge structure for me to train in. I'm 66 years old. I'm not fooling around. I'm making a comeback. I'm going to start a whole new movie. Did you know that I was supposed to be Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid? Does anyone know that? I mean,
no, is that true?
I've never heard that.
John trained John Cusack. John trained John Cusack for Say Anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did a lot of things. I trained a lot of guys in a lot of movies. And girls, I'm Dragon Wilson too, if I get a chance.
Okay. Well, I'd love to see you guys fight. I mean, honestly, in a real fight with Aikido style and Don, I mean, what would the rules have to be and how would you two fight?
Well, fighting is a sport, so yeah, there'd be rules, and Aikido is more of a grappling art. We consider it grappling. Throwing art and manipulation of wrists, wrist locks and things. So it's not really kickboxing. I'm just striking, punching, kicking, elbows, knees. The UFC is, and Stephen, you've trained a couple of UFC fighters, trained with them.
Absolutely.
MMA rules would be perfect. MMA rules would be perfect. Get in that cage and then go out.
Don't ever go away just to stare down. That's a big part of it. I mean, when you have a chance to look at your opponent and stare him down, I mean, I like a good 17 minutes of just stare down time, eyeball to eyeball. You know what I mean? Because if you can win that. If you win that, you won the fight.
Stephen, how long did you train to stare? Like, what is your stare training?
Well, you've seen cartoons where they put toothpicks, and it's true. You can do that. You can use toothpicks. I personally like Velcro and crazy glue. I put it on both eyelids and spread them apart. You think this is a joke, but I'm telling you the truth. You got to get a good stare down. And, you go to an eye surgeon a couple of times, and get steroids in my pupils just to make them larger so I can give a good stare down,
That's a lot.
Am I the only one that's seeing that there's a missed movie opportunity here? I can see it. Emblazoned, Steven Seagal is Stairmaster.
Yeah, hey, that sounds great. Let's write it. Jamie.
They definitely wouldn't get mixed up with the Stairmaster, the thing you exercise on.
Honestly, here's the other thing. Last time we talked to Don, he was gracious enough to kind of rank some of Hollywood's, hitmen for, on who could really fight. And I think you both have a bit of an issue with Jean-Claude Van Damme, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, let's get his name right first of all.
That guy's
Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Dom.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh,
You got to say the Dom. It's not. It's like a Dom, like an Italian name. But I mean, Jamie, I don't think you know anything about fighting.
Look, Jean-Claude was a black belt. He's a black belt. Should have gone black belt. He did compete as a what they call point fighting, which is like touch football. If you're taking the sport of NFL versus touch football, kickboxing versus point fighting is in that kind of category. So he was a point fighter. Nothing to take anything away from him because he was part of the Belgian point fighting.
That's so true, Don. That's exactly who he is. He's just, he's touch football.
He's like Riverdance. Like a Riverdance.
So agree with you.
I don't take anything away from point fighters. There's millions of them, They do it. It's safe, and it's what a normal person should do. Jamie, if you're going to take martial arts, I would never tell you to be a kickboxer. People get brain damage. They get broken bones and things. Yes, point fighting, you're not really hitting each other. You're just scoring points. You come close, and then judges decide whether it would have been a good hit. That's what Van Damme
Don,
did.
Don, have you ever tried to have you ever tried a car? Have you ever tried to kick through and get through an entire automobile, a vehicle? That was one of my techniques I used to do. I don't know if you knew I did this, but I used to punch from the passenger side all the way through and kick on the driver's side, kicking out the windows, the doors, the seats, the shifter, anything, the speedometer. I mean, I did it all. I had it all the way through. And when I got to the other side, to the driver's, if I was able on the sidewalk, I succeeded. I beat the shit out of that car,
I take the same attitude as Bruce Lee when it comes to any kind of demonstrations, breaking bricks and boards. Remember in the movie, he said boards don't hit back. Cars don't hit back. They don't punch and kick me. No, I'm not going to be attacked by a car. I don't break cars. I don't break boards. I don't break bricks. I punch people in the chin. And that's my training.
Because you
can't.
Are you afraid of glass? I don't get it.
Steven, first of all, you never fought professionally. You were kind of I think you were like a security guard or something who knew some Aikido, and you're a large man. But he's a world champion kickboxer. What did you ever fight professionally?
At times professionally. I even fought Danny Bonaducci back in the day. Do you remember him from the Partridge Family?
I do. I don't remember fighting him though.
He and I got into a fight, and we were gonna go to town, and we just decided, let's do this for the kids. Let's do this for the kids. So we sponsored this fight. Donny Osmond was a part of it. It was some sort of guy, some radio DJ in Chicago, and we beat the shit out of each other. Now Donny, let me tell you something. Donny Osmond is a hell of a fighter. And money there, Don. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay. Hey, Steven, we really appreciate you coming in today, man. Listen, I really appreciate, and I like the new tack that you're taking. You're not kind of a jerk as much anymore, and I think maybe you might have a career in Hollywood still. I don't know.
There's no need to be a jerk or an a-hole. I'm just trying to be the best human being I can be, centered and focused. And Don, I'd love to see you sometime. And I like I said, I am a part of anything you're in. If you want me to be a part, show up. And, I'll be there to throw some fisticuffs if you need me to, if you want me to be the opening fight.
Hey, Steven, thank you so much for joining us
tonight. Steven, bye.
Everybody, Steven Seagal. I mean, we might have to have him call back on other times. Don, I'm sorry I'm sorry that kind of happened, but Steven is, when he calls in, you gotta kind of let him in for a bit.
I need to tighten security on our feed.
I don't know how to get the phone number. It's crazy.
Don, if you're ever getting the financing together for Man versus 77 Cutlass Supreme, Seagal apparently seems to be the man for the job.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He really complained when he first came. You are in the martial arts, and a new martial arts guy, like a ball, everybody comes and we all evaluate. And the comeback was, for most people, was he needs to get on a weight training program and put on a little muscle. Because he was, if you can recall, the 4, and he was
Apparently, Steven Seagal has done his work on the internet and affected Don.
Don, you're breaking in and out a little bit. I think the question is, Don is moving so fast that the internet cannot capture his image.
Well, what you guys didn't see is that while that was happening, he actually went out and punched through a car.
That's what it felt like. He did. Are you actually? He looks back. You look good now.
No. Like I told Steven, I don't really work against inanimate objects. Yeah, bricks, cars, planes, whatever.
Yeah, I love that. That's funny. He does do that stuff though. Back in the day, talk about it real quick, because that's one of my favorite stories that you told me one day about the fact that you trained. Actually, you know what we should do? We haven't shown any clips yet, Jason. Should we show Don knocking some people out?
Let's.
You want to watch yourself?
That. I love that. Never get tired of that.
I don't get. Honestly, I watched it like 3 times today. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, his professional record.
I would have broken a hip just getting in the ring.
7 coming by way of knockout with 5 defeats. He was entered into the 2002 Guinness Book of World Records for most world kickboxing titles at 11. The legendary martial artist of stage, screen, and ring, Don the Dragon Wilson.
And he's and another one's down, and another one's down.
We should have Don. You should narrate this.
Well, I'm basically catching guys and dropping them. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going on.
How good does it feel to knock somebody out?
Oh, this guy was a Ukrainian. This was the first, behind the Soviet Union in America. This guy was from Yugoslavia, European champion. So all these guys are good fighters, by the way. You know, people in the know would recognize them, but they're not like stiffs next door who, who woke up in the middle of the night and made them go out there and fight me.
Well,
they were all considered.
It would be a weird clip if it was just Don at church, like walking around, like knocking people out.
Yeah,
these are I love that Don has to explain to us, like, dude, we get it. Those guys are real fighters, and you knock them out. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen,
these guys knew how to fight. By the way, I didn't, and they knew I was coming. They didn't. It wasn't a surprise. Like, I didn't just show up in their room and knock them out.
Yeah, well,
you don't get knocking out the bad boy.
That's so great, dude. I almost want to watch. Should we watch it again? I mean, I thought we should watch it again.
No.
All right. Listen, man, that's so great. And here's what's cool. It's like, some of the other guys, like you talk about Van Damme or whatever, like they were more dancers and acrobatics, like Jim Cotta or something, where they were doing this. But you were like it's like Cassius Clay made a movie, wasn't a movie star. A lot of guys who were real fighters tried to get in the game and make some movies, and it didn't really work. So to be a world champion for that many titles and then have a pretty prolific movie career is pretty rare. That really doesn't happen very often. So it's kind of cool that people can see you and you're like, oh, by the way, those guys were real fighters. And we know, man.
I tried that same approach from the ice cream eating contest world, but it didn't go the same.
No, it's funny. Listen, how did you get the first leap, man? How did you get the first leap where you were knocking people out, and then all of a sudden somebody's like, hey, you should be in a movie, dude?
Well, as I was a young fighter in my 20s, people would suggest that, hey, you should think about getting into acting. I'm not really sure why, but just people thought I could be an actor. And it wasn't until I met Chuck Norris. And we went up to his hotel room, and he was acting at the time for Canon Films, making movies. This is way before Walker. This is like in the late 70s. And Chuck Norris suggested it. He said, Don, he said, I think you should consider when you retire, move out to LA, get an agent, go to acting classes, and get a second career going as an actor. Because Chuck was starring in movies. So then I took it seriously. From the late 70s, I started thinking, maybe I'll do that. So in 84, I had my biggest fight purse at the time. I fought the other champion in Montreal. The fight was called a draw, but everybody thought I won it. And I took the money from that fight, moved to LA, retired from fighting, moved to LA to be an actor. By November, I was out of money, and nobody was starring me in movies. So I said, you know what? I got to go back to fighting. So I had 2 weeks to get ready for a fight. I go to the fight, knock my guy out in the third round, and I got paid $10,000, which would cover me for a couple of months. And I thought, you know what? I can do both. Why am I retiring for? I can knock these guys out and make cash money. I don't need to be scrimping every day worrying about it. So that's what I did. I fought and did the acting thing. But the way I got the acting thing is a complete fluke. And now I look back, and it's the only way I would have ever been an actor. Is I come home one day, and this is 1988. So I've been there for about 2.5 years. No work except I worked on General Hospital as a bad guy for 3 months. What they call U5, under 5 lines every day. Okay, that was me. That's all I did as an actor. So what happens is, on my answering machine, I have a message. It says, "Hello, my name is Roger Corman. I have a movie. If you're the Don Wilson that's the kickboxing champion, I'd like you to come in and read for it." So I'd never heard of this guy, Roger Corman. And his office was in Brentwood. I was living in Beverly Hills. It was like a 3-minute drive. And I did this. So I got my car, I drive over there. Casting agent looks at me and says, "Mr. Wilson, we apologize. I apologize. I did not know you were Asian. This is for a Caucasian lead, and the brother was already been cast, and he's Caucasian. Because we can't." He said, "But I don't want you to waste your time, so you come in and read." So I came in and I read, and the casting agent said, "I'll be right back." He leaves the office, comes back in, he said, "Roger Corman wants to meet you." I said, "Okay," and I never heard of this guy. Luckily I had, because I would have been very nervous, Jimmy, if I knew that he had made so many careers in Hollywood. So I go in there, and he says, "Tell me about yourself." And I told him a little bit about my fight record and why I moved out to LA, and I wasn't getting any work. Nobody was hiring me. He said, "Well, could you read for me?" And now I've been in business now over 30 years, so I know this is an aberration in the business. I start to read the line of the scene. The line I'm reading with the casting director. I get like 3 lines out, Jamie. He stops me. He says, "That's enough. I've seen enough." Normally, that's the kiss of death. If they stop you, Jamie, they don't let you finish the audition that you prepared for. It means don't let the door hit you on the ass on your way out, when you go out, when you leave. He made his mind up, though. That's the way Roger worked. He looked. I guess he could see I could understand and read the English language. But because I wasn't an actor, I take an acting lesson. But anyway, he had seen enough. He hands me the script right there on the spot. He says, "You're leaving in 2 weeks to the Philippines." He said, "You are going to do these martial art movies." He said, "You are going to move to action movies." He said, much later in your life, you're going to be a dramatic actor, a famous dramatic actor in Hollywood." And he said, "You leave in 2 weeks. Do the script."
That's amazing, dude. That's so awesome. He made so many careers. Roger Corman has made so many careers, from Jack Nicholson, the whole gang, all the directors. Ron Howard directed for him first. A lot of people. Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, we have a question from the audience. Pauline wants to know, have you ever met Jackie Chan?
Yes. I get a call to go to Beijing. There's an event, and they asked me, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li to support it. So we all go to Beijing. So I met him in Beijing. Now, I was asked to stay at his house once. Now, here's how this worked out. The director of the first Rush Hour is Brett Ratner. He became very good friends with Chris Penn. Anyway, he wanted Chris in the first Rush Hour. So he gets Chris in the Rush Hour. Chris does the Rush Hour thing, meets Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan, when it's opening up in Hong Kong, asks Chris to come and open the movie, and he wants to party with him in Hong Kong. So Chris calls me up and says, "Hey, I asked Jackie if you can come along." Jackie said, "He'd love to have you come." Because, I had 6 fights in Hong Kong.
And you were training Chris Penn at the time. Weren't you training Chris Penn at the time?
Yeah, well, he was my best friend. I never really trained him to this. He wasn't like an instructor. We were just best friends. But I did show him the things that I knew. You know, if your best friend was Sugar Ray Leonard, he'd be showing out every time you go to a boxing gym. What do you think he'd be doing? He'd be like saying, "Hey, Jamie, keep your right hand up." And that's what I did with Chris. I kind of coached him as a friend while we trained together. But I got invited to go to Hong Kong, stay with Jackie in his house with Chris, and we were certainly bonded. But I was coming out of retirement then. That's when I got an offer from Viewer's Choice to be the main event and come out of retirement. And I'd never done that. So I put all the, Kathleen, by the way, said, I married an actor, not a fighter. And I said, when they, look, they gave me 150 grand, Jamie, just to sign the contract. Then 12% of the pay-per-view. But when they gave me they wired 150 grand in a day. And I didn't care who I was fighting. I didn't care. To me, that was good money for a fight. Now, I get in the ring. I knock the guy out for the third round. 6 minutes. He's on the floor. That's why I came out of retirement the last time. Was the money was changing. You know, the money had got.
That's almost about $25,000 a minute. That's pretty good. Pretty good money, right?
Yeah, it's okay.
And look,
exactly $25,000 a minute. Excuse me. That's
a lot of guys say, yeah, but it was dangerous. No, listen, it's dangerous for him.
Yeah,
it wasn't dangerous for me.
That's funny, man.
You know,
you're talking about still fighting now. You're talking about still fighting in New York, man.
It's going to be for a show, though. They're going to call it an exhibition, Jamie. And listen, one of the guys I might fight is this YouTube guy. He is pretty big. You know, he came to my gym. The gym I worked out at. The guy who just fought. He made $65 million, by the way.
Yeah.
Not all for him. The whole show generated $65 million pay-per-view. He came in the gym. What's his name? Logan Paul or something?
Jake Paul.
Yeah, him and his brother both came into the boxing gym right here in the Valley. And just before his fight, you know, the other fight they had.
So do you still train every day? Are you still in there training every day?
Gotta look out the door and see what's out. Yeah, I sneak out as much as I can to go to the gym.
I sneak out to golf. Here's the greatest part about this whole story is the fact that he's 11-time world champion and he still has to be like, I've been training. Don't tell my wife, please, for the love of God, don't tell my wife. Like, that's still a thing. It doesn't matter who you are. Sugar Ray Leonard, he was at one of my comedy shows and all the comics were talking to Sugar Ray Leonard. Like, oh my God, Sugar Ray. At one point, his wife goes, we get it. He's Sugar Ray. Stop it. And then nobody talked to Sugar Ray again for the rest of the night. And we're all like, oh, that's right. That's how wives work. Welcome to it doesn't matter who you are. If you're married with kids, I get it.
Listen,
I feel like we're watching an interpretive dance.
I know, Don. You're breaking out, man. Don, whatever the Beverly Hills internet is not great. It's not great. Yeah, your internet is you're cutting in and out a little bit. No, you're still cutting. We might have to bring Seagal back.
That's because Seagal's out there punching the internet cables right now.
Can't hear you. You're breaking out, buddy.
It looks like I'm
I don't. He looks like he's going to kick your ass if you keep telling him he's breaking up. Doesn't he? Looks madder and madder.
Maybe you should kick out and kick back in, and make sure you don't have the Wi-Fi. Talk to him and make sure he doesn't have the Wi-Fi on and the because that's what happened last time, right? He's like, somebody's like, I hope someone's screen recording this. That's really funny. Oh, we're recording this. Trust me.
Yeah.
You know,
it's available immediately.
That's my favorite thing of all time. It doesn't matter. Oh, he's back. He's going to hit us.
Is he back?
But can you hear me?
Now we can.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh.
No, you're out.
What is going on?
Kathleen, get your wife.
I'm going to try something that's going to be better than this. I'm pretty sure.
I love when he's talking about it, and then it came in perfect.
Yeah. Tell Mickey Rourke you need good internet money for this next fight, would you?
He can spot it.
He's Googling how to get my internet back.
Did you guys, I'm curious, while he's working on that, did you ever, challenge the old man? Did you ever have that bull meets young bull moment? Because I did. I was about 16, 17 years old. My dad and I are mixing up. He's pissed off at me about something. My dad is like this volcano. He could probably kill with just a quick forearm shot, right? And my dad, I'm towering over him at this point. My mind's in a different place because I think taller, I can beat him. And he's like, well, we can always go settle this outside like men. And I go, yeah, let's do that. My mom's like, Jim, no. And I go, come on. We go outside. My dad's a Chicago construction worker, and his forearms are like Popeye. I get up there and he goes to me, you get the first punch. I go, I don't need it. Bam. Poof. And I was down. I didn't even get the word out. And he shot that fist off so fast. I never saw it. Hit me, dropped to the ground. He looks at him and he goes, get up. And I go, I'm good. I wait for a couple. Like, my dad was kind of older. He was older than me by a good hunk. So we never had that. I mean, no? I guess we grappled in my teens. Yeah. I remember a couple nights of grappling. Was it for the last shot of whiskey?
Like, yeah, there was some probably Schlitz involved, I guess.
Could be.
Yeah, I think Schlitz will make that happen.
Hey, I think Don, there we go. Let's try that.
Hey guys, am I on? Let's try that.
Hold on. You are, but yeah, use just that one.
Okay, can you see me now? Am I?
Yeah, yes. There we go.
The whole time. Flip it sideways.
But what about the?
Flip it sideways, Don. There it is.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
We should have told him this. Oh, you know what? We got to go back to one, and we might have to bring Seagal back at this point.
Can you hear me though?
Way better. Here's the problem. We were all so afraid to tell you had bad internet because we honestly thought you might drive over here and kill us all. So we let it go for way too long, and that's on us. I'm
gonna be honest, Don.
Now you're crystal clear and fantastic. We might have to go back and retell some of the stories. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, Don, earlier when you
let's just cut out all the other ones.
We won't use any of it.
Well, earlier, Don, when you emailed confirming you were good to go for the night, your email came with nothing in it, and so I was like, I am terrified to respond because I don't want him to drive to my house and beat me up. So I responded and I tried to be like,
I will not throw a punch unless I'm paid.
I will pay you to beat up Jason personally.
Thanks,
Jamie. Are you in?
And I come cheap, by the way.
How much? Can we get Don's volume up?
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, the other thing with having Don on is that we didn't really sound check very well. We didn't.
Well, test.
Hey,
should I push the
that's as high as I can.
Can I ask one piece of advice from Don? Seeing the fact that all three of us have young children, and that you are this martial arts expert, I'm looking for the perfect defensive pose against the heel kick to the balls that every child seems to give me. Is there anything I can possibly do to protect myself from that without hurting the child?
Yes, absolutely. First, what you do is this. Whenever the child gets within 3 feet of you, turn sideways. Just talk to them, face them, not square up, not where your shoulders are square with their shoulders. Just turn sideways, because what it does is takes your target and moves it out of position for them to strike. And so all you have to do when you're around kids is turn sideways. And for self-defense, we teach the same thing. If you're standing in front of somebody arguing, and at any minute they may attack you, if you turn sideways, you've just taken, first of all, your groin completely away from them. Plus, if they throw something at your face when you're sideways, you can lean back. But when you're standing shoulder square to shoulder square, like we are on this these little videos, right, where our shoulders are all square to each other, you've got no defense. You're totally what they call open. If you just turn, that's
this is how I'm doing the rest of the show, guys.
That's your defensive position. Now, if I was Jamie, if I was to throw a punch right at your face, you can lean back. But if you imagine, if I see both shoulders, you can't lean back. You go back, you'll fall on your back. So that's dragon self-defense lesson is.
Well, you know what's funny is we talked earlier
Turn
too, and you were
sideways,
telling me some
any
self-defense
danger is coming.
techniques. You have a couple of them, don't you? You have a couple of
Well, this is for
self-defense
protection.
techniques you were
This
going to
is
share.
again, and this is mainly for children or adults. Turn sideways. The self-defense I was going to teach is this. First one. Now I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. Of course, you guys know that, and I've read everything and watched everything, seen or done about him. And he says when asked what is his best self-defense technique, here's his answer. The eyes. He finger jab to the eye. Now that's not like the Three Stooges like this. You open your fingers. It's like this. It's all four fingers, and you jab towards the eyes, and then you rake. It's called raking. It's a tiger technique. You rake the eyes. So you right now, Jamie. I've had 40 years of martial arts. Guess what? If your fingers go across my eyes like that, I'm blind. Take all my training out the door because I don't practice hitting the heavy bag. So everybody walks around with the two most vulnerable things on anybody's, but your body and mine is our eyeballs. It's like a grape. If you get the eyes, doesn't matter. It would take me years. Well, it would take me a few weeks for Jamie to learn the left hook. But you could out the door of your house. If somebody goes to grab you, go right for his eyes, he's finished. No matter how big his muscle is, no matter how young he is or what, if you get the eyes, and that's Bruce Lee says is his most dangerous technique, finger jab. So I'm nobody to argue with Bruce Lee. In my opinion, the same. Now, I have been in many street fights, fights that are not professional because I was a bouncer in a nightclub. I worked in a club for 5 years, and as a bouncer and a bartender, I got into a lot of scuffles. I never went for anybody's eyes because it wasn't life or death. And maybe I knocked some guys.
Don, I got bullied in high school.
Hit some guys.
I got bullied. I got bullied in high school, and my kid was like 2 years older than me, and it was like I was like not a fighter, and I was like, "What's happening?" And my gym teacher told me, he goes, "Punch him in the throat," and I was like, You can kill a guy that way." He goes, "Maybe." And I was like, "Oh,
Wow."
He goes to gym teacher, Mr. Tibbetts, told me to punch the dude right in the throat, and I didn't do it. And to this day, I kind of wish I had done it. I still,
you can't have kids doing that.
I know. That's a problem. We got real problem because I was always like, well, listen, they always like in the movies, the bully, you fight the bully, and they become best friends. But in real life, you beat the bully and he goes home and gets a knife and comes back and stabs you. I feel like that's a different story, right?
Jamie,
a little bit.
As men, you all have to go see the new Bob Odenkirk movie, Nobody.
Times change.
Because Bob Odenkirk in the new movie Nobody takes on these four guys in a bus, slugs one guy in the throat. When he goes down, he then gets over him, flips open the knife, cuts the throat, pulls out the straw, and puts it in to give him the instant trachea. So I just love that he went straight up MASH on us for that episode, for that moment.
That's funny.
Well, you gotta.
Yeah, he's a lifesaver and a killer.
Yeah.
It's a new take on people. Talk about real quick. Say anything when you train. I know you trained John Cusack, which is funny because if everyone knows the movie, Cameron Crowe's Say Anything, he has this big scene where he's talking to the girl's parent, and the parent doesn't want this kid. As a parent, you're like, some kid comes in and starts talking gibberish, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a kickboxer. I'm gonna be a professional kickboxer." It's a huge scene in the movie, and the father's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "It's a sport. It's a professional sport. I'm coming along." And the whole movie, he's kickboxing training, and you trained him for the movie, right? No, Don froze. We got to bring Seagal back.
Wait, that was insane. That was in Say Anything?
Yeah, well, here's how that came about, though, because this is behind the scenes.
Now he's a ventriloquist.
John,
he
yeah,
lives.
John,
I mean,
I was in it. I'm the guy who broke John Cusack's nose in the gym. We're sparring. His girlfriend comes in. I throw a kick and breaks his nose. But here's how that happened. That script was written for Chris Penn. And Chris Penn was offered the script. He went in to meet with Cameron, and he did not look like a high school kid. So we all got together, me and Chris and Cameron. And I don't know if I'm the first person to say the name. Maybe it was James L. Brooks because I believe he produced it. But they decided, or Cameron decided, he would go with John Cusack into him. He was not a kickboxer. For a couple of years. So I had met Cusack before.
Wait, and you know what's funny? His wife Kathleen is in the messages.
Like I said,
hey, Kathleen, go fix Don's internet
before I'd go to Hong Kong or Japan.
Kathleen watching.
Hi, Kathleen.
This is
the only way I got there is I think he might have broken John Cusack's nose.
I'm using the iPhone now.
Seagal's back. Seagal is back. Hey, Don, we're having internet issues, so we asked Steven Seagal to come back.
Yeah, get her to fix, but it's not the internet.
Hey, one last thing.
Yes.
I just wanted to say,
I'm on my
Don, shut up for a minute. Let me say something.
Hey, you don't talk to Don Wilson like that.
Well, I mean, I got something to say. I got a chicken on the grill, and I want to get to it. Can you give me a minute? I mean, Don, listen. I know you're a dragon. I eat dragons for fucking lunch. Okay, anytime, anywhere. That's all I want to say. Anytime, anywhere. Do you understand? You don't take me serious. That's what pissed me off. I got off the phone. I was like, what am I doing? I'm Steven Seagal. This is ridiculous. If this guy wants to fight, I'm 66. You want to go? You want to throw? You want to go round and round?
Not my computer.
Yeah. Of course you got computer problems because you don't want to do it. I get it. Listen, I'm done. Jamie, I don't know who you are, but you seem to get a pretty decent guess if I'm on it. My manager must have, I don't know how you got me. Anyways,
Steven, I have a question. What happened with you and Kelly LeBrock, right? Wasn't that your beautiful wife for a long time?
Yeah, I've had plenty of beautiful wives. I've been all over the place, up and down and all around. You know, I mean.
Well, word has it you've plowed your way through Hollywood, I believe, didn't you?
Yeah, I got 7 kids with like 9 different women. I mean,
You sound like Dave.
Listen, that's just who I am. You know, I'm not trying to brag. People are just, they're jealous of me. And I don't.
Really quick, Steve, before you go, one last training technique. I know you use toothpicks and Velcro to hold your eyes open, and I know you fight your way out of cars, which is amazing.
I fight through the car.
Through the entire car.
Rocky would hit beef. I go through like Toyota Celicas.
What else do you do to train? What else will you do to train, for fights and just to keep in shape?
Well, sometimes I go underwater and I try to punch the concrete until the water is drained out of the pool, and that's what I do just to get, and I usually use my leg muscles for that because, it's hard to kick underwater. Have you ever kicked underwater, you guys? I mean,
what are you pushing against? It's like Superman. You have to push against something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing cardio.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do, and I'm able to do that with just barefoot. I go into people's backyards that they're going to demolish them anyways. Here in Los Angeles, they're constantly knocking down houses with pools. So I say, fill your pool up. I'll do you a favor. Let me go to the bottom of the pool and kick my way all the way through the concrete till the water is drained. You know what I'm saying?
Hi, guys.
All right. Hey, Steven, thanks. We got Dawn back. Dawn, are we good with you?
Done. Hey, done. Anytime, anywhere. Okay.
But
don't. Don, stop saying that your internet is bad. I'm in Russia and they can hear me fine. Listen, anytime, anywhere. Do you understand? Oh, man.
All right, Steven, good luck with Under Siege 4, man. We look forward to it.
He's got the new album coming out, too, from Russia, Putin on the Ritz, Steven Seagal's big Broadway musical. You should check it out.
It's nice, man. You should jot that one down. That's pretty key. That's a keeper. Don, are you back? Do we have you?
Nope.
I think so. It might. No.
It's
kind of.
Maybe we could just put up a picture of a Don and have Steven Seagal call in and talk as him. I don't know. It's a thought.
Well, listen, we're gonna bring him back. He honestly, he should be. We didn't even get to the parenting stuff, but and Kathleen's there. Oh, we lost him again. Oh, Jesus.
So how's everyone?
So at home, he's going, stupid cricket.
Let's do our closing bit. What did we learn today, guys? What did we learn today?
I learned that you can train by punching through a car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dave,
That
what
was
did you
it.
learn? What did you learn today about the internet?
I think I learned today that when the going gets tough,
Sorry to cut you off, Dave, but Don's back. Come on, Don. We got you. It's the final round, Don. The final round. There's 4 seconds left in the fight. We need a knockout story.
Don looks a lot like my daughter's math teacher on Zoom right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Perplexed and angry at all of us.
Yeah, I'm sorry I
We're
dragged
gonna
you.
have to bring Don back.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry I dragged him into this. We need to send over an internet tech. But by that, his wife. What I learned is it doesn't matter who you are and how successful you are and what you've done. If you have a wife and children, you still are going to be the guy who's like, "Hey, don't tell my wife this, but I just went out and had a cigar in the backyard." Like, what is up with that? Why can't we just be like, "Yeah, I'm a man. I'm doing this, and I don't care what you think."
Didn't you do that today with golf?
She doesn't know I played. Are you a lunatic? Why would you bring that up?
It's a joke, obviously. You were at soccer practice, weren't you? I mean, it was more about
golf. She knew I played.
Oh, all right. See, I tried to.
Only because she called at one point and she's like, "Hey, can you take out my friend's coming by to pick up some kids' clothes? Can you put them out front?" I go, "I'm not home."
I'm starting to feel like Don's in a hostage situation here. Like he's showing us clues how to find him.
His house.
He's punching through Don's Miata right now, working his way into the house.
Oh, I'm trying to get this thing to work.
Hey, get up on the roof. See if you can get a better connection.
We're almost out of time anyway. I mean, I can't believe people have stuck around this long, but I love it. Boy, Steven Seagal. I love that Steven is turning over a new leaf. We didn't even get to rate all the action stars. We had so many questions from people.
We didn't talk about Batman.
Actually, you know what? While he's here, Don, can you see it?
Is this the international high sign for see it?
Here's you getting your eyes raked. By the way, there's going to be, after this, all of a sudden we're going to see a rash of eye raking going on around the country. We're like, what happened? I saw this video and Don the Dragon Wilson told me just to rake the dude's eyes. And you're like, he's blind. You blinded another human. Yeah, but Don said it was the way to fight. And now,
I can see you.
Actually, it was Bruce Lee. He was just passing the word on from Bruce Lee.
Look good.
I like the ninja weapon. You know the ninja claws that you wear in the hand?
Yes.
Those are fantastic. I honestly, I might get a set of those.
I have a set of them, but I just use it to shred pulled pork.
Way better use. I'm definitely getting a pair of those. Hey, let's show our other clip of Don. Don, if you're watching, watch. This is you in a superhero movie.
Let it go!
There he is.
Yeah!
Who the hell are you?
I'm Batman. Hey, so I forgot my suit, all right?
Here we go.
Come on, run!
Wait, doesn't Batman ever kiss the girl?
Go.
Thanks! You saved my life!
I could definitely get into the superhero gig.
Are we streaming this from Steven Seagal's house with the Russian?
I know it's got Russian.
Yeah, right?
I mean, we need him back just to see how Chris O'Connell was as a fighter.
Yeah.
I think he's coming. This will be it. We seriously got to wrap this thing. We tried and tried. Hey, can Chris O'Donnell really fight, or he knocked you out, dude. What happened?
Well, you see, I wasn't paid to punch him. I'm trying to help the flow.
Why did Don have a high voice? That was insane.
I don't, because I'm not a good ventriloquist, and I've got two voices that come out of me: Rolf the dog or that high pitched squealy voice. So that's all I've got. Yeah.
Well, let's hear it as Rolf the dog.
Yeah, well, I didn't have much of a choice. I was fighting against Chris O'Donnell, and I wasn't paid to beat him up.
Better choice for Rolf.
Yeah.
I like it.
Listen, I mean, I think we have to wrap this. We can only torture people so long with, I mean, next time we're going to have to talk to Kathleen, Don's wife. We should have Kathleen on, actually. Kathleen's a rock star.
I think it'd be great to have a Seagal stare off on one of these episodes.
Kathleen's funny. When he says that part about my wife said I married an actor and not a fighter, she didn't put it in those words, I don't think. I think she said, hey, you're not, oh, Don's back.
Hey, Don.
Oh, am I back?
Yes.
Did you see the Batman clip where you fought Chris O'Donnell?
No, but it's not one of my better fights anyway.
Dude, he totally knocked you out. What happened? I thought you were a better fighter than that.
Well, when I was young, Jamie. When I was young.
I expected more from a man fighting in good streamers.
What was Chris O'Donnell? Was he like, hey, listen, man, don't just make sure you don't kick me in the face or
whatever? No, he's a real nice guy. He's a real nice guy. And listen, he had Mitch Gaylord, the gym, as a stunt double, like 3 stunt doubles. You know, to do anything. He's a real nice guy, but he's not like Tom Cruise doing everything himself.
Did he? I'm sorry. Did he just say he had Mitch Gaylord over doing his stucco? I'm having a hard time with the audio.
But he's a good stucco guy, Mitch, and he's an Olympic champion, so he's great. Yeah. Was Mitch Gaylord the Olympian? Was he the stand-in?
Yeah. He was one of them because for the backflips and things. Then he had another one
that makes sense.
To do the climbing, and then they had a martial artist who could actually throw some kicks and stuff. But I think they used as much of actually Chris as they possibly could. You know, they really wanted it to be him, but you know, for us, that by the way, that took 4 days to shoot.
Really?
Of course.
That's why they spent $90 million on a movie at the studios.
And then, of course, they did an animated version, and they called it Coco, and I enjoyed that one even better. I thought that was a better movie. Hey, listen, we got to wrap this thing, dude. But will you, Don, please, can we set up your internet later, and will you come back, please?
I will, and we're going to find out about this internet because I don't know. I just got the internet that they provide, and you know, I tried 2 different ways. I had the iPhone here, and it crashed out on the iPhone. Yeah.
In many ways, this show was like a wedding. It was like a marriage where we expected it to be just this huge, fun, crazy thing, and then there was all kinds of just little technical difficulties that were just irritating. Even though overall it was still really fun.
And like many of the weddings I've been to, Steven Seagal crashed it.
He crashed. Steven Seagal crashed our entire marriage.
He might crash the buffet table.
Still, my favorite thing is when Don had to lean in and go, "Don't tell my wife." But yeah, I'm training. I mean, it's like The Incredibles where he's out fighting crime and Don's like, oh, "Please, for the love of God, don't tell Kathleen." But yeah, I'm training because I'm going to fight Mickey Rourke for money.
Spoilers, Kaylor. Spoilers.
Oh wait, she's watching. Oh, Kathleen.
Yeah, and.
She's not oh, yeah, she was on the thing. That's right.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. We can all pretend our wives don't know anything. They know everything. They know. I don't even clear
every single thing.
I'm not even clearing history anymore. You know what? This is me. This is who I am. If you got a problem, I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you. So, gentlemen, any last parting words for the Dragon?
No, but it was an honor to have you here.
It was the best.
Nice to meet you, sir. Thank you very much. Stay safe.
I love you, and you've done. This is the second time I've dragged him into one of these, and you are a rock star. Thank you for sharing.
I always have fun with these things. I don't feel like it's a real interview. I feel like I'm just talking to a bunch of people, you know, friends.
That's what it is. I mean, we try to make it that way. I mean, most of the comments, that's what they loved about it. It's not like these crazy interviews. It's more of just 4 dudes hanging out and shooting shit.
Usually, when I'm plugging something, like if I just finished the film and it's going to get released. And I said, it's all about that film and how everybody needs to go find a DVD. But this is much easier.
Hey, when you're fighting Mickey Rourke, you're coming back on, and we are going to plug the sweet Jesus out of that fight, man. That's
Absolutely.
so, all right, listen, everybody. Thank you so much to Don the Dragon Wilson. You're a rock star, my brother. I really appreciate it. I guess that's it. Like, we should all just say goodbye, I think, right? We talked about what we learned. We've had technical difficulties. We're going to try to do better sound checks, perhaps, and internet checks. But Schrader, got any words?
Just thank you guys for letting me come and play in your sandbox, and for all the listeners out there, check out Darkness Radio on any podcast device. You can hear the best in paranormal talk radio 3 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And guys, it's a pleasure as always.
You're on the road too, aren't you? Hitting the road soon?
No,
because of COVID. But in the fall, you'll probably be back out.
I'm hoping something pops, and we'll be mobilizing. I know Jason and I are going to be out at Phenomenology in Gettysburg in a couple of months, which is a big paranormal conference.
And the cool thing is, we're going to announce this right now. We're going to do a live studio taping at the event of the Parents Lounge. We're going to beam Jamie in, and Dave and I will do a live Parents Lounge for the audience there. So if you can get to Gettysburg June 3rd through 5th, it's going to happen that weekend.
I'm in. It was awesome tonight. It was kind of hard because of the internet. Like, it was, I just kept looking at you two going like, but he's such a great storyteller, and I felt pain of like, the internet is, but that's the world we live in. So it is what it is, man. We'll cut around stuff, and we'll put some clips up for other people to share. And then he'll come back. He's a good friend of mine. He'll come back and tell some more stories. But yeah, and a big hand for Steven Seagal.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll give him some credit later. He's Steven Seagal. Take us out, buddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week every Tuesday night, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, and we'll see you then. Have a good night.